Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, glad to have you here. So let us open in prayer. So I invite you right now to close your eyes if you wish and just bring your attention to this present moment. And in this present moment, we realize that we are enfolded in spirit, that we are living and moving and having our very being in spirit. So we open ourselves to the truth of who we are. We open ourselves to the wisdom and the love and to the guidance that is always here for us because we are one with the one. And in this oneness, we allow ourselves to feel, calm and at peace, knowing that all things are indeed working together for the good. So we open our hearts and minds to the wisdom that is here for us today, for the guidance that is here for us today. And we just take a moment to just think of one thing that we are truly, truly grateful for. So take that one thing, hold it in your heart, hold it in your mind, and we are grateful. And we pray this in the name of the living Christ presence. Amen. And now we have some music, our first song. Would everybody go ahead and stand up and what do we got?
I am free, I am unlimited.
One of my favorites.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now.
So, our fourth unity principle states that there is power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. Other ways of saying it is through prayer and meditation, we align our heart, mind with God. Unity began as a prayer and healing ministry. And most of us here in Unity know the story of how our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, Myrtle, she had been sick her entire life and suffered from tuberculosis, which back in those days was a death sentence if it wasn't taken care of. And many, many people died of tuberculosis. And she had suffered from this as a small child. And she was weak. She was a very frail woman. And then she married Charles, and they ended up having 2 children not too much later. And eventually they had a third one. But after the first 2, that was just such a toll on her body that she got worse and worse. And she went to all the doctors and everything. I mean, at one time they went off to Texas to breathe better and for the weather. But she continued to get worse. And eventually the doctor said, I don't think you have more than 6 months to live. And so with that, and having searched everything for a cure, she and Charles heard about this speaker, a metaphysician. He was a Christian Scientist, or he had been a Christian Scientist, and he was giving some lectures about healing yourself. And so they went, and in that talk, Myrtle heard these words that he said, and that is, you are a child of God, and therefore you do not inherit illness. You are a child of God, and you do not inherit illness. And she grabbed hold of that. And for 2 years, she made that her mantra, if you will. It was something that she affirmed. It was an affirmation that she affirmed daily. And you can read about her experience in her healing letters, but she would spend time daily in the silence. She would direct her thoughts to every organ in her body. She would speak to the organs in her body. She would speak words of truth that she said. She apologized to each cell in her body for calling it sick and for having that mental mindset of seeing it sick. So she apologized, and she spoke to the cells in her body, and she believed that she was getting better. And in 2 years, she had no sign of tuberculosis at all. And she healed herself through the power of her belief. And her friends and neighbors saw this, and they wanted to know, well, and Charles was flabbergasted, and it really just set him on a complete different course in life, trying to figure out how she was able to heal herself. What was it that caused her to be miraculously cured? And she began to teach people about her healing, and I mean, they had seen her healing, and she would talk to them and pray with them, and she would tell them that it was not, God's will that anybody be sick. And so people would come to her, and she would pray with them, and she became a very well-known healer in the Kansas City area, which is where they were living. And Charles, who was a very successful real estate person, really got very much interested in this whole thing about how people can heal themselves. He got very interested in spirituality. So it's another thing is that she used in her treatment, she used what we called denials and affirmations, and that she denied that any sickness had any power over her, that it did not have any power over her. She denied that it had that, and then she would affirm that her organs and her cells were vibrant and healthy. So that was one of the things that we do teach in our prayer and meditation classes, is about the use of denials and affirmations. Denials is not denying that you have anything, you just deny that it has any power. It's the realization that any power that it does have, we're giving it. So, in unity, meditation and prayer are intertwined, and frequently the terms are used interchangeably. And meditation is the process by which we enter the silence. And the silence is often thought to be the most important subject that unity teaches. It's simple, and yet at the same time, it's one of our most advanced teachings. There's sometimes confusion because there is both the practice of the silence and the state of consciousness called the silence. So the purpose of meditation, practice of the silence, is to enter into the silence. So we do in our meditation, how we teach meditation is that we become quiet, we become still, we enter that silence. And with practice, we can actually enter a state that is a state of total non-awareness. It's a state where actually we lose all track of time. It is a state of consciousness that literally we sort of tap into what we would call the unmanifest. We tap into that field of infinite possibility. If we, through practice, if we enter that state or that state of consciousness that we do call the silence, that is where we get in touch with the truth. We don't just get in touch with the truth of who we are, we see the truth of who we are. We know the truth of who we are. We tap into our intuition. We tap into our Christ nature. We tap into our divinity, our oneness. And it is a timeless state of perfect peace, perfect joy, and perfect harmony that we can tap into. So the silence is one of our major teachings in unity, tapping into the state of consciousness that we call the silence. And it was the Fillmore's main spiritual practice. It was something that they set down on a regular, every night they sat down and they spent time in the silence, and which is our meditation. But the meditation leads you into that conscious state of the silence, beyond time, into where we're tapped into our Christ nature. So in Unity, we do teach a 5-step prayer process, and the first 3 steps are the same as for our meditation. The meditation technique that we teach in Unity is actually what is called centering prayer, which was developed by Father Thomas Keating, if you're familiar with that. But we really do, in Unity, we have come to believe that is a wonderful way of doing a meditation. So the first thing you do is for meditation is you relax. And I'm going to, after the talk, we will go into a meditation. And also, there is so much to say about our spiritual practice of prayer and meditation and the silence that I do invite you to join us afterwards, because during conversations with the minister, we'll go into tips on meditating and answer your questions about prayer and meditation. Things that I don't have the time to mention. So that will be pretty much directly after the service, and it will be done online as well. So those of you that are joining us online, if you are live streaming and in this time period, then right after the service, join in. We have our link to Conversations with the Minister is available on our website and also in our newsletter. And if you go to the website, it's in our calendar. You look for Sunday in our calendar, and it's right there, and you can join us for Conversations with the Minister. We'll just talk about this a lot more. So in Unity, we do have that 5-step prayer process, and the first 3 are like our meditation. So the first thing is we relax. We let go. We let go of all the stuff that we have on our mind as best as we can. And this is something that takes practice. But we let go of all the stuff that's going on. We relax our bodies. We find a place. Normally, it's just find a nice, comfortable place to sit and relax. And let your mind just relax. So let your body relax. So the first thing is relaxation. You get relaxed. And then you turn your awareness away from all that stuff that's going on out there. You turn your thoughts and attention inward to that oneness within you, to that truth of who you are. You let go of all of the stuff that you have on your checklist that you need to get done. You let go of all of the thoughts that you had about what happened yesterday or what somebody told you yesterday. You just let that all go. You turn within. And then once you have turned within, you concentrate. You abide in that oneness. You focus inward. And in centering prayer, to help you stay focused on that quiet, that still point within you, that's probably where people have most problems with their meditation, is they have trouble stopping their mind. They have trouble stopping what we call monkey mind, because thoughts are always popping up. And it can be disconcerting. So what you're doing is you're concentrating on that stillness within. We're concentrating on that truth of who we are. And there is, when our mind is not going all over the place and we're calm and we're centered, then we are at rest. We are at peace. There is within this, that center which is perfectly still, there is that center which is perfectly at rest. It is at peace. And we can tap into that at any time, but it does take practice. So we tap into it. And with centering prayer, if what you do in centering prayer is you pick a word, one word, that you just sort of hold in your heart and in your mind. And that's going to be your anchor, okay? It's going to be the anchor that helps you stay centered. And it could be any word. It's sort of like a mantra, but it's not repeated like a mantra. A mantra, and people use mantras, and that's perfectly okay too. But in centering prayer, we don't use a mantra. We just have a word. And it could be peace. It could be love. It could be Jesus. It could be Abba. It's a word that has special meaning for you, and use that word. And so whenever you find your mind drifting away, thinking about something else instead of being focused and centered into the truth of who you are, then you bring that word up and you repeat it to yourself. And that brings your attention back to that centered place within. And so so you have a word, and this is how centering prayer works, which is really a meditation, but it's called centering prayer. But you use that word it helps you be stable, okay? It helps you keep on track to that and centered within yourself. So resting in the silence is just simply being, okay? It's not asking, when we're meditating, we're not asking for anything for ourselves, or we're not asking for anything for anybody else. It's just a concentration process that where the silence can really take place, where we can actually get into that consciousness of silence, that mindset of silence. And we just sort of slip into it. And we allow ourselves to rest there. You know, I'm reminded of a quote by Rupert Spira. And Rupert Spira, you've heard me mention him before. He's a teacher, English, from England. He teaches the direct path, which is a Advaita Vedanta path. But he says, in ignorance, the separate self is what we are. And meditation is what we do from time to time. In wisdom, meditation is what we are. And the separate self is something the mind does from time to time. Now, that is a very interesting quote to actually meditate on. He says, in ignorance, the separate self is what we are, and meditation is what we do from time to time. In wisdom, meditation is what we are, and the separate self is something the mind does from time to time. When we are actually able to be and rest in that state of consciousness that we call the silence, there is peace beyond understanding there. We tap into the truth that we are spiritual beings, and we're able to rest in that truth. And that, once we've rested in that truth and we are totally relaxed, and really we're strengthened. And then when we come out of that, then we're just much more clear-headed. That's all it is to it. And after we come out of that silence, that's, if we're going to pray, that's when prayer begins, is after we come back from that silence. We spend time in the silence. We are spiritually fed. And then we come out, and that is when we ask whatever it is that we want to ask. That's when we put our prayers into action. So at this time, we do thank you, and we invite you to stand up for a blessing of our offering.
Okay, so the love offering prayer.
Divine love in me and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And will you repeat the second part of our prayer for protection? The light of God surrounds us.
I am light.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am love.
The power of God protects us.
I am power.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am presence.
Wherever we are, God is.
I am divine.
And my friends, you truly are. So bless you, and thank
you all
you
for being here.
for being here. Thank you.